Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we will discuss the thyroid gland and the parathyroid gland, anatomy of the thyroid gland and parathyroid gland. So both of these glands, they are endocrine glands. Endocrine gland, as you know, are those glands that secrete their secretions into the blood, and they are ductless glands. So thyroid and parathyroid, they are again endocrine glands. Thyroid gland produces thyroid hormones, and parathyroid gland produces parathyroid hormones. This gland is a butterfly-shaped endocrine organ found in the neck. Normally, the thyroid gland is not visible, and we can't see it, we can't palpate it. But when the thyroid gland is enlarged, which is known as goiter, then we can appreciate its presence in the neck on inspection. It is responsible for regulating the body's metabolic rate with through hormones it produces. It produces thyroid hormones and that regulate the metabolic rate of the body. This thyroid gland, it has two lobes, and one is the right lobe, the other is the left lobe. Both these lobes, they are attached together through narrow isthmus, and this thyroid gland is present in front of the trachea, and it is attached to the trachea through the ligament which is known as the Berry's ligament. Weight of the thyroid gland is about 25 grams in adults, and each lobe being about 5 centimeter long, 3 centimeter wide, and 2 centimeter thick. So, as we have discussed, thyroid gland is located in the interior neck between C5 and T1 vertebra. This is the limit, the vertical limit of thyroid gland from C5 to T1. Uh, and The interior-lateral relation of the gland is sternothyroid and sternohyoid muscles. Posterior-laterally, we have uh, carotid sheath with its contents. The contents, they are common carotid artery, internal jugular vein, and vagus nerve. Posterior-medially, we have uh, airway and food passages. So the airway is the larynx, the trachea, and the food passages are the pharynx, esophagus, and the nerve, the external laryngeal nerve. This is the, you can see the anatomical location of this thyroid gland present in front of the neck from C5 to T1, and this gland is in the butterfly shaped gland or in the form of H shape, which has two lobes with connecting the narrow part. The narrow part is known as the isthmus, and this is present in front of the trachea in the posterior medial relation, while posterior laterally you can see this is the common carotid artery which divides into internal carotid and external carotid artery, and the blood supply of the thyroid gland is from the external carotid artery in the form of superior thyroid artery. So you can see superior thyroid artery which takes origin from the external carotid artery. This superior thyroid artery, it goes downwards and reaches the upper pole of the gland and supply the upper pole and the interior portion of the thyroid gland, while the blood supply to the lower pole is from the inferior thyroid artery, and it has a close relation with the nerve that is the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So the blood supply to the thyroid gland is achieved by superior and inferior thyroid arteries, and of course these arteries, they are paired arteries rising on both the left and right. So we have right superior thyroid artery, left superior thyroid artery, right inferior thyroid artery, and left inferior thyroid artery. Superior thyroid artery is, we have discussed, it is a branch of the external carotid artery. After arising, the artery descends towards the thyroid gland. It supplies the superior and interior portion of the gland. Inferior thyroid artery is a branch of thyrocervical trunk, which is a branch of first part of the subclavian artery. The artery travels superior-medially to reach the inferior pole of the thyroid. It tends to supply the posterior-inferior aspect of the gland. And in about 10% of people, apart from superior thyroid artery and inferior thyroid artery, thyroid is also supplied by another artery which is known as thyroid emma artery. It is present in 10% of people, and the origin of this artery is from the brachiocephalic trunk or the arch of the aorta, and it supplies the interior surface and isthmus. Venous drainage of the thyroid gland is through the thyroid veins. We have three thyroid veins: superior thyroid vein, middle, and inferior thyroid veins, which form a venous plexus. The superior and middle veins drain into the internal jugular veins. The inferior vein drains into the brachiocephalic veins. Lymphatic drainage of the thyroid is multidirectional and extensive. It drains initially into perithyroid nodes, and those nodes that are present around the thyroid. From here, the lymph flows into the prelaryngeal, pretracheal, and paratracheal nodes. Laterally, the gland drains into the superior and inferior deep cervical nodes. So this was about the thyroid gland, its location. It is present in front of the neck. The extent is from C5 to T1. It is in the form of butterfly shape or H shape. It has two lobes, right lobe, left lobe, and connecting isthmus and the blood supply. Now, what about the parathyroid gland? So, the parathyroid gland, they are very small in size. They are lobulated, yellowish in color. They are present on the posterior medial aspect of the thyroid gland. They are usually four in number, and they produces hormone with the name of parathyroid hormones that helps to control calcium level in the body. Shape, they are flattened and oval in shape, situated external to the gland itself but within its sheath. They are located on the posterior medial aspect of each lobe of the thyroid gland. The size, they are very small in size. They are the size of a grain of rice. 30 milligrams weigh approximately 3 to 4 millimeter in diameter. The majority of the people have four parathyroid glands. Blood supply of the parathyroid glands, they are superior and inferior thyroid arteries, and the venous drainage into the thyroid plexus are veins. Lymphatic drainage into the deep cervical lymph nodes and paratracheal lymph nodes. Thank you.